Hello, Wolfpack. What can I say? We're not in a bear market, right? I mean, I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks now, but general market update, and we're going to be looking into the charts for Bitcoin and looking into why we're extremely bullish still, and we've still maintained bullish throughout this whole correction. And every correction we've had, September, late October, early November, we're still bullish in this correction, still bullish in bloody May, July. You know, the point of the matter is, and the point I really want to instill into people's heads that I do constantly every video, and I sound like an absolute broken record, trust in the cyclical theory. Don't worry about the goddamn 1 hour chart. Alright, the cyclical theory has played out for 12 years straight, 13 almost. Alright, it's played out exactly the same every time, every single time. And people are looking at the hourly chart to determine whether we're at the top of the bull market. Doesn't make sense. Alright, doesn't make sense. But regardless, and that said, we're still going to look at the hourly chart. Because, you know, it is important to get an idea of the short-term price action, even though it doesn't really affect the longer-term scale. And it is important to understand that, hey, you know, even though the cyclical theory has played out perfectly for over a decade, it doesn't mean it's going to continue to play out, right? That's for sure, right? It doesn't. There's no guarantee that it will continue to play out. So as analysts, we have to, you know, constantly be reevaluating our current positions in the market and understanding whether it's still a good position to take. I think it is still. Let's get into it, all right? Daily chart on Bitcoin. Let's look at what we've got here. Well, what we have got is the fact that, well, you know, we have a pretty clear bearish divergence. Right, and that's one of the things that the bears are saying, right, on the RSI here. We have bearish divergence, right? We had a lower high here and a higher high here, and the RSI did the opposite, and that's worth considering, okay? But a bearish divergence hasn't actually stopped us in the past, right? If you look here in September and July, we had bearish divergences throughout the whole of September, all the way through to the September correction, and we broke through, and it only enhanced our ability to move to the upside. So, you know, we had a bearish divergence, for example, here, same thing, throughout the entire start of 2020 from November, right? It was playing out from November. The first inkling of a bearish divergence played out from November, all right? And we moved all the way up, and that was happening down here at 20K. And even though we had that bearish divergence, we moved all the way up to 64K before we corrected. And then after we corrected, we moved up all the way to here, to new all-time highs. So, bearish divergences, yes, they are a sign that, yes, this current trend is unsustainable and that it will drop eventually. But if you look at how long I'm expecting this bull market to go for, I'm expecting this bull market to go until the very start of January for Bitcoin, right? And then all coins will run. The very start of January. This bearish divergence played out for 1, 2, 3 months before it took place. Currently, we're only about, less than a month in, right? Even if the bearish divergence lasts as long as the one we had back here, I don't know if this makes sense, but it makes sense to me, we're still going to be making it to the all-time high before it plays out. So yes, I'm expecting this bearish divergence to happen because it's not a sustainable trend, that's for sure, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen, all right? You know, no doubt, and I've looked at the charts, no doubt there were bearish divergences on all of the charts back in 2017 and 2013, but we still ran up to new all-time highs. So it's not, you know, a bearish divergence is a great indicator, as I said, that the current trend is unsustainable, but it's not a good indicator at telling you when it's going to fail, right? Because it can take months historically. I mean, you know, the one we looked at just then from 2020 to 2021, that took from November to May to actually play out. Right, that was a 6-month bearish divergence. People were calling for the top for 6 whole months, and in the time that they were calling for the top, they missed out on a 3x, right? And it didn't even correct down to the prices it came from. So I don't think, and that's probably one of the most convincing bearish arguments I can think of right now. I don't think this is a double top, by the way. A lot of people are saying, well, this is a double top. It doesn't make sense to me at all, right? All we need to do is zoom in and see what's actually happening here on a smaller scale, right? We can see that we had this entire region here in earlier this year, and we're currently closing weekly candles right on top of that region. It's clearly a flip for support, and then before it move upwards. You know, it doesn't look like a double top to me. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it's a double top at all. If it were, and a lot of people are saying as well, and this, I'm just addressing concerns here today. If we were going to see a bull market, no one's going to buy Bitcoin at 100K. That doesn't make sense, right? No one was going to buy Bitcoin under the same logic at 20k, but it came all the way from less than $1,000 to 20k, and people were still buying it. In fact, the most people were buying it in the sky, because when retail investors come into the market, why do you think Dogecoin pumps? Why do you think Shiba Inu pumps, right? Because the people like buying it high because they need that confirmation that it's going to go higher. It doesn't make sense, right? It's not a logical way to invest, but that's how people work. So there will actually be more buyers at 100k than there will be now. I can guarantee you that, right? Just like there's more buyers at 60k than there were at 30k, right? That's just a fact. Just like there's more buyers at 20k than there were at 10k. It's just how it works. People like buying when the market is higher. It's just human psychology playing out, I guess. But and another point I want to address as well is if we were going to see a bear market. And if this is just one big, why wouldn't we just drop here? You have to remember that the manipulators control the market. You can think what you want to think. Retail has some influence, for sure. They have some influence, but the general direction of the market is controlled by manipulators, and that's all financial markets, not just crypto, right? If the market manipulators, had this big scheme to take Bitcoin up to new all-time highs and then double top it and then drop it again, you have to remember, we were down at 29k 3 months ago, right? They could have dropped it below 29k. They could have picked up all the Bitcoin they wanted. Why would they waste, this time? Why would this happen? Why would we go all the way back up, more than double to new all-time highs, sit there for 3 weeks, and then drop in something that's not even clearly a double top? I mean, we closed our weekly candle in earlier this year at 59k. We're closing weekly candles up here at 66k, over 10% higher, 12% higher. It's not really a double top. It doesn't really seem like a logical double top to me, and I think people are going to understand that once we go a bit higher, because there is reason to believe we're going to go higher. Right, for example, we have this, and I'll clear out this daily chart, and let me speak about this first. I'll speak about the daily chart first, all right? We have the bull flag that I have been speaking about, constantly, for a while now, all right? For a while now, and we can extrapolate the data from this bull flag, take it to the breakout point, and get an estimation of where we're going to go, and it still stands, right? I still stand by this, and we'll move it down a little bit to be a bit more conservative to the last retest, okay? I still stand by this. 86k by November 27th, which is 12 days away. I think that, as with all bull flags, it should be taken with a grain of salt. Now, I'm not saying it's going to get to 86k exactly on November 26th, exactly at 86k. It's just a guideline, right? I have people in the comments section who sometimes take me a little bit too factual for what I'm saying. You have to remember that everything I say to you is a guideline, because everything I say to you is based on extrapolation of data, so it's never going to be precise. It's never going to be to the T, right? The chances of Bitcoin actually topping out at 113k by January 6th, as I predict, exactly like that on the same day, very, 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 very low. Even I'll admit that. But that's my best guess, right? You have to remember it's a guess. I would say give or take a few days, give or take 10%. Right, that's my general guideline. But if I had to really pin it down to one specific price and one specific date, that would be my prediction, right? But the fact of the matter is I'm not actually predicting, we're going to exactly get to this price point by exactly this time. It's a guideline. It means the market's bullish. It means it's going to go up, right? That's essentially what it is. And it's just an indication of how much I think it's going to go up. But that's the bull flag, right? So November 28th, around the 80k region. I think it can play out, for sure. I think it can play out. And thinking of what's happened recently, this whole correction has been given a pretty negative light. Let's take away all of these indicators, and you'll excuse my my alerts here. That's just what you have to do when you're in this market, I guess. But we have this pink line, and let's actually draw it out a little bit better. We have this pink line of support here, and we'll make it pink at around 64.1k. All right. Notice how this whole correction we've stayed above that point, not only, slightly, but confidently. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 daily candles, right? All closing above that pink line. We tested it here, we tested it here, we tested it here, we tested it here. All right. This is clearly another short-term flip of support, from resistance. So, we see that in this whole construction here, this whole correction region, we were being suppressed by this pink line. We've flipped above it, we've retested it for support, and we're heading to the upside now. Very bullish. I don't know what people are seeing as bearish about this. We've also, just to add to all of this, got a bullish MACD cross incoming, potentially within the next few days as well, due to this correction. So the correction's actually been great. The correction has allowed Bitcoin to regroup. It's allowed Bitcoin to reset them to the indicators and bring us back with another bullish cross, right? That's going to happen much higher than the last one. So as for cyclical theory and what's actually happening, and we've predicted this, right? We've predicted this. I sound like a broken record again. I don't like being that person who said I told you so, but seriously, I did tell you so. What did I say was going to happen? Right? I said back here, all the way back in October, I can't remember what it was. I think it was early October. I said we're going to go up. We went up. Right, this is 2017, by the way. I said we'll have a late October, early November correction. Right, if you go to the Bitcoin chart, we went upwards. I predicted back here we were at like 50K. We had this late October sideways, early November correction. Right, so we had both of that. We had this, that's a tick, we had that. And now what we were seeing just then, we broke new all-time highs. Yep, we broke new all-time highs here. Yep. And then we had this correction. And we had this correction on the days, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th. What did we do in this cycle? We had red on the 9th, the 10th, 11th, and the 12th. And then we started moving upwards in 2017, and we were at new all-time highs by the 16th of November. Currently, it's the 15th of November. We're at 66K, our all-time highs at 69K. I'm not saying we're going to exactly get to an all-time high by the 16th, right, tomorrow. I'm just saying that's what's happened in the last cycle. The last cycle proves to be a pretty good, reliable indicator. So maybe not the 16th, could be. But, in that region within the next few days, maybe the next week, right? We're going to be in new all-time highs. In a few days. I'd lean towards a few days. Actually, if I had to guess, it would be the 16th. But, again, you can't be too precise with these predictions. They're based off of extrapolation of very, very small sample points. So, and I'm just on top of this as well, guys. We've formed a new all-time high in Bitcoin or not an all-time high, but we've closed the highest weekly candle ever. We're not in a bear market. All right, that's my personal opinion. Obviously, you can believe what you want to believe. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, don't go crying to me. But the point of the matter is, I really don't think we're in a bear market here. But let's look at Ethereum. And then we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Ethereum is in a very unsustainable upwards trend, and we said in a video a few days ago, you'll find it's called late November, early December correction, something like that. I can't remember the exact name of the video, but I made a video about how I think Ethereum is going to correct in late November, early December. I said that it's going to continue running for about a week or two, right? This is a few days ago, and it's still running, right? I still think it's going to run for about a week until Bitcoin reaches all-time highs or maybe a bit further. Going to maybe retest the top of this channel, maybe go to around 5K, but eventually, and it's happened in the last cycle, so I'm not just basing this off of nothing, but eventually Ethereum will correct, right? And in the last cycle, it corrected in late November and early December. We had a correction, probably bring us back down to maybe the previous all-time high, 4.4K, maybe a bit higher, maybe 10, 15%, just to reset everything, because it's pretty clear this upwards trend is unsustainable. We saw a similar upwards trend in the last cycle, and we saw a correction after and before, we topped out. So to assume that Ethereum's just going to keep running upwards until February, early February, February the 3rd, until it tops out, doesn't seem logical to me, right? I'm expecting Ethereum to go to between 9 and 13K, right? And if I'm looking at the chart here, what is more likely? Is it more likely Ethereum just keeps running and then just blows off top? Keeps running upwards, blows off top? Or is it more likely we go up a little bit, have a correction, reset everything, get everything ready to go, Bitcoin tops out, the money flows into altcoins, then Ethereum blows off top? That seems more likely to me, right? We'll see something like that in my personal opinion. So, expect a correction on Ethereum. Maybe not now, maybe not in the next week, but as I said, late November, early December. That's what we saw last cycle at least, and that's what I'm basing it off. So, as for Bitcoin dominance, same thing, right, as always. I still think we're going to go up. I still think we're going to have a surge in Bitcoin dominance as Bitcoin makes its final move. And I think the bulk of that surge is going to come from when Ethereum corrects, right? You'll notice that in this last cycle here, 2017, this last green candle we saw, this very last green candle, that was formed by Bitcoin going up to new all-time highs at the same time as Ethereum correcting. Right, so I think we're going to see a little bit of an upwards trend. When Ethereum has that correction, we'll zoom upwards, and then Bitcoin will top, and then money will flow into altcoins very quickly, and we'll zoom all the way downwards very quickly to new all-time lows. That's my prediction. I've stood by that for almost a year, and it's, well, I haven't had Wolves of Crypto for a year, but ever since I've had Wolves of Crypto, I've stood by that happening, and I think that's still what's going to happen. So around 52% to maybe 49%. That's just a rough estimation. I think we're going to go higher, right, basically, on Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin needs to have a final move. How's Bitcoin going to get to 100K? It's going to get there through it being the center of attention for about a month, right, and then the money's going to flow into altcoins, as it always does, So we're looking good, guys. We're looking good. I can understand people getting concerned because altcoins, all in all, haven't moved a dramatic amount from the bottom, right, that we had in May. They haven't really moved that much. Yeah, they're up, 2-3x, but, it's not enough for people to be confident in it but that's normal, though, because, as I said, altcoins don't typically move too much on a general basis until Bitcoin tops. And that's why, if you remember, I encouraged you guys in that correction back in May around 29k to pick up some Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin until December or January. I was constantly encouraging that. Right now, I think it might be a little bit too late, right? If you're looking to buy something now, I'd just buy into altcoins, right? Bitcoin's got like less than a 2x left to go, in my personal opinion. If we were back at 30k, it'd be a different story, as I would have said to you guys back then. But right now, it's probably best to load up some altcoins. There's beautiful structure on some altcoins right now that I cover in these videos constantly. So keep an eye out for those, and also do your own research as well. We look good. I don't think it's anything to be overly concerned about as of current. As I've said previously, if we go below 53k, the bull market's over. We really don't want to go below 58k. If we go below 58k, I'll be super concerned. But more pressingly, these support lines, these light ones here, we don't want to drop below those either. Realistically, 61.3k is also a very good indicator as well. So I've got a few key zones for support. If we drop below them, it's not going to look good. I would also say 64.1k on the daily chart. Closing below that would be a bad sign, because that would put us right back into this construction. I'd go as far to say is if we close below 64.1k, I'll have to make a video in which I seriously consider what's going to happen next, right? I don't think it would be an immediate indicator that the bull market's over, but it would be concerning, because we don't want to be correcting right now. Right now, we want to be moving to the upside. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.